I want to welcome you to the Pantheon. I am your host, Ray, and today we're looking at Carter, a 2022 action film on Netflix, exclusively on Netflix. It came out, a year ago, but it's a movie I felt worth talking about. Part of our Wick Wednesdays lineup as we get drawn closer and closer to my review of John Wick Chapter 4. This movie was directed by Young Gill, a man who brought you a movie called The Villainous, which debuted in Cannes in 2017. That movie has one of the best opening action sequences made at its time, at the time it came out. Now it's been, you can say it's been copied or mimicked or modified. But also with that too, you can look at movies like Hardcore Henry or Crank in this case for this movie. I saw The Villainous recently. I really enjoyed that movie by Young Gill. Problem is, I saw that movie without subtitles. I saw it in its Korean language, which is by still amazing film, but without understanding what you're watching, you can really lose yourself in the context of what's going on. I mean, it's beautifully well shot, but I couldn't tell who the character was at the beginning when you see her again as a younger version of herself. I couldn't tell the difference between the two because I couldn't understand the language. But you kind of get the story is very self-sufficient. I just didn't know who was who in the middle of the story and what was really going on because I was out of the loop. So, word to the wise: if you're seeing a foreign movie, get subtitles. It'll help. Okay, so Carter. Carter is an amazing film. I saw it 3 times. I saw it around the Christmas holidays, and then I saw it 2 months later, and again for a third time about a month ago. And I wish I should have reviewed this shortly after I watched it on the last reviewing. Each time it gets less and less impressive. And one of the things I've learned from doing a review like this is that when you watch a movie like Carter, which is nonstop action, and you don't have much time to process every single detail, and a lot of the mistakes or things they do, you really can't stop and think about it because it's you going on to the next thing, next thing, next thing. Beauty of seeing a movie more than once is that you get not only you process it in the first time, second and third time you could actually break it down and pay attention to the things that you missed, things that you needed to pay attention of, or looked at sequences that they established and get an idea of like what was made, how it was made, what was the point of it, and you just really work over the concepts of what the director or the writer was trying to do and really get into the movie. When you first watch it, you have a guy who has no memory of himself and what he's able to do, his past or his name. He wakes up surrounded by CIA agents in a bed that's covered in blood that leads to a trail of this cabinet. And there's a video that he allegedly sent to the CIA that he has a scientist who can save the world held hostage, and he's at this place. Like The Hangover, no idea what's going on. Like Jason Bourne, like Matt Damon movie, he has no idea what's going on. The movie feels like Hardcore Henry, Ilya Naishuler's movie, where it's a first person's perspective action movie. This one goes one step beyond. You see his perspective, but also from a third point of view. So and like a person outside looking in, but directly at his lifestyle. So basically, that's like a fly on the wall that follows him around. And once in a while, you get to see through his eyes. With the movie, the Villainous, it starts off in the perspective of the anti-hero, and then something happens, and they switch out, and you see it through again a third person right there looking at the character and experiencing what the character is like side by side with the character. So you're going in the journey of the female character or the anti-hero. With Carter, you're doing the same thing, which is fun because it's an action film, and it's over the top kind of frenetic energy, and it ultimate tribute I could say to this. It really is in terms of high energy. It reminds me of the Raid Redemption, which it was like superhuman feats this person would have to do, and the energy and the stamina to carry on. So movies like On Back, movies like John Wick 4, which we'll review very soon. These kinds of films where the person has to go above and beyond what a normal person would do without having a heart attack to do this stuff is amazing. The one trick pony of this is that it's supposed to be like a one camera shot, like 1917, which was a one camera shoot and carefully edited so you don't see the edits. This one was like Adobe Premiere kind of edits, and it kind of blanketed in certain things so you don't see the cuts, which is fine. And seeing it a second and third time, you really get to see how they do the cuts and how they really try to blend it in. It's just impressive. This movie uses a lot of drones. So you think of Michael Bay's Ambulance, where he used a lot of drones to show on the camera sequences. Or in this case, if you think of like Extraction with Chris Hemsworth, directed by the Russo brothers, a film that uses the idea of drones to carry on the action sequences. Well, this movie does it on steroids. This movie is impressive how much the mastering of a drone with a camera and going through some of these camera angles and shots. It is really dynamic. Some of it's a little irritating and a little kind of spinsy. Spinsy. It kind of the rotations of it and way it kind of goes into the ground. I think it's done for the effect of giving you a sense of confusion, but also allow for an edit maybe, and to take the focus off something for that little bit. But it also kind of really follows the action too. It makes you feel like this movie is immersive, like it's a worldly experience, and you're there on the ride, just in this world. So it's almost like a dream where like you're living in this dream, you're seeing a bubble of this life of what Carter's going through. Now, the story is a little bonkers. When I first saw it, I thought it was just all a bunch of red herrings. He's a CIA agent. He had a face reconstructive surgery. He's somebody else. He's a North Korean military man. He's a South Korean agent. He's a double agent. He's a triple agent. And then you realize by the time I watched it the third time that he's all of these things. Because it's thrown to you fast and furious, you don't know what's true. So be like him, you're just confused and you're just trying to piece it together, but you're struggling. So the time I got to the third time, I got to piece in some of the things. There's a device called BD5, so BD7, which kind of gives him his amnesia. You find out what that is. It's all like you say MacGuffin, but it helps set the stage for him not knowing. The problem with that, not knowing who he is and stuff like that, is that in essence that you should not remember how to fight or do certain things. Muscle memory is one thing. Like in Born Identity, he wakes up, but he knows how to do hand-to-hand combat. It's second nature to him. So hand-to-hand combat is second nature to Carter. He instinctively knows how to fight. He also instinctively knows how to handle weapons and tactics and infiltrate crazy scenarios and spelunking and repelling and all kinds of stuff that maybe you should have some sort of cognitive memory of that, but they're going on the premise that it just comes naturally to the guy. And infiltrating a base full of enemies and knowing how to handle himself in that situation should not be something that is a person with amnesia can do. But like I said at the beginning, they take a lot of liberties in creating the structure of what it is, and then breaking its own rules in service of its own story. So the movie is amazing. The action sequences keep going up. It levels up. It's an adrenaline rush. It's fun. Like John Wick 4, Chapter 4, there's always a sequence that's tops it from one prior to it. Never lets up. It's never boring. The cuts are really amazing. The camera works. It's almost unbelievably how they can pull this off and but give you this finished product. It's not a perfect film. It's a fun movie. If you think about it, like John Wick, if you think about it too much in certain sequences, it really falls apart. But the story here is solid. If you believe in the fact that everything they're saying has a bone of truth to it, and you follow through and you believe what you're hearing and seeing in this jumbled world, that the guy who has no idea who he is, it's a great ride. Even to the very end of this movie, even the cliffhanger at the end, it's just insanely impressive. It's just enough plot, as perpetuous and preposterous as it may sound. It does kind of work. You got a woman in his ear who you find out who that is later on, and even that story is, after all what he's gone through, it really requires you to take a leap of faith. And but but it does deliver the goods, and because of that, it's worth watching the movie at least. And it's on Netflix. It's a highly recommend movie, but it's a movie that is just like you can watch it once, maybe twice, and that's it. But it's still a decent film, not a great film. When we get to John Wick Chapter 4, that's a good film. So with that, I'm Ray, and we'll see you next time. Take care.